Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our second Revenue Subcommittee meeting of the day, April 7th, 2022. We have only one bill to consider, that is SB 391. We adopted a number of amendments to it this morning. We're back to consider more amendments. Let me start with, so the last amendment that we discussed prior to closing our morning meeting was Delegate Blokovich-Carr's amendment, which, as she had it drafted, would reduce the income tax benefit for all projects going forward to 4.75%. And when we had left it, I'd suggested differentiating between Tier 1 and Tier 2, that is leaving Tier 1 at the current, 5.75, and dropping the Tier 2 to 4.75. Delegate Blokovich-Carr, are you okay with that adjustment, or would you rather us vote on your amendment as brought?
That's fine. And just to make clear, because I think we also talked about that this is just prospective for new companies coming in.
So the adjusted version of the amendment we'll vote on is prospective, would drop the Tier 2 benefit from 5.75 to 4.75, but leave the Tier 1 benefit the same right now.
Yes, and if I can also just maybe clarify with George, for the Tier 1 benefit, are we specifying the 5.75, which it is right now, as opposed to leaving the reference to the income tax brackets?
I can do so. I think that would be non-substantive clarifying.
Is that your preference?
Yeah, that'd be my preference.
So I believe the amendment had already been moved and seconded at our earlier meeting, but let's go ahead and, just for formality's sake, move it and second it again.
I'll move the amendment.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Delegate Blokovich-Carr, you had more amendments to offer?
I do, but I'm happy to let Delegate Feldmark circle back on her amendment first.
Okay. Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I know we discussed my amendment this morning. There was the possibility that we may have made some changes. I'm going to go ahead and move my amendment as drafted. I think we recognize Delegate Buckles' concerns about the potential for some of these standards posing more of a challenge in Tier 1. And I think that differentiation we just adopted, offering an enhanced credit in Tier 1, hopefully will offset that at least in part by offering additional attraction to Tier 1. So I think we moved this earlier, but I'll move my amendment again.
Second.
So this is the labor standards amendment. I am delegate. I think I mentioned you before, like fully supportive of the concept. I think I am going to vote against this amendment only because I feel that there's a broader policy question raised here, which is an important one that I think we need to tackle next term. One of my frustrations with the way we do economic development is it's not cohesive. We've got too many programs trying to do too many things that conflict with each other, have different qualifications, different criteria. So I'm fully supportive of requiring labor standards of various kinds on all economic development programs. It's just my preference would be that we do it on all economic development programs and not program by program. Delegate Buckle.
My concern, really beyond what I expressed is, I think doing these things, as we found in this program, the Tier 1 counties do not get the majority of the benefit. The majority of the benefit seems to be going to Anne Arundel County and Baltimore County, which Baltimore County is, I believe, included, or parts of it are included in Tier 2 because of Trade Point Atlantic. But these are large and growing and largely successful from median household income communities. And so by grafting, as I've said before, I really don't care if you want to graft these kind of requirements onto the incentivization of new jobs, new credits within the broader I-95 corridor or counties that are growing. But I just take pause with it because it won't work. So creating 0 jobs in the tier 1 areas because we want to create in theory, a higher class of jobs. If you don't create any, and what we've seen is tier 1's having a difficult time now. Hitachi will mean something for Western Maryland, but other places haven't. I have to take seriously the concerns of the Commerce Department, who I think are generally the people who give us our information and testify are generally very bipartisan, just administrators of these programs with long-term experience in how they work and how they don't work, who have said essentially that the requirements in the proposed amendment, and I'm just quoting from stuff they've given to us, are extremely difficult to implement and will likely result in very few, if any, companies being eligible for the program. I don't know if that's the way it'll play out or not, but I'm certainly not an economic development specialist. And if those people say that, that's the reality, to me, that's what's important. So I couldn't support the amendments, and in fact, would probably have a difficult time even supporting the bill at that level because I just don't think it makes any sense. My goal with tax credits and incentives is to help communities get better jobs, get companies grow, whether that's Baltimore City, whether that's Somerset County, whether that's Allegheny County. It's all of us that need that. And that's what this program was designed to do. It's had a mixed record of success. If we're going to extend it for only 2 more years, I think we should in general leave it the way it is. Delegate Blokovich-Carr and Delegate Feldmark have made some, I think, very compromised, good amendments that I support, reducing the credit logically for the tier 2 places, the multiplier effect. I think we'll maybe hear some amendments about increasing the number of jobs created in order to make you eligible for the credit. I think that's very logical. This suite of amendments, I think it's going to gut the efficacy of the bill. I know that's not Delegate Feldmark's intent, but I think that's what's going to happen. I think that's what Commerce is telling us what's going to happen. And if you want to gut it for tier 2 and we don't need these incentives to get new businesses in Howard County or Montgomery County, I agree with you. I think that makes sense. But if I couldn't vote for something and then hear 18 months from now, this company was thinking about coming to Baltimore City or thinking about coming to Allegheny County, and at the end of the day, the credit package just wasn't that good, and they were very concerned about it. So I would oppose that amendment and hope that we could maybe compromise on those other 2 elements, the reduction of the multiplier for tier 2 and the increase in the number of affected jobs in order to qualify. Let it ride for 2 years, and then let's have a discussion again as to whether or not the program makes sense or doesn't. Thank you.
I think George had a quick clarification, and then I'll go to Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Delegate Whitby. So I just wanted to clarify, first, as far as the tier 1 areas, those currently include Baltimore City, Allegheny, Baltimore County, Caroline, Cecil, Dorchester, Garrett, Kent, Prince George's, Somerset, Washington, Wacomico, and Worcester counties. It also includes the opportunity zones that could be designated in any Maryland county. Anything that isn't a tier 1 is a tier 2. And then with respect to the credit distribution, projects located in tier 2 counties have received over 80% of all year 1 final tax credits, and projects in Montgomery and Anne Arundel counties have accounted for about 2/3 of the credits. So I just want to make the clarification.
I got Baltimore mixed up with Montgomery in that. Yeah, 80%
Yes,
have been
sir.
Montgomery and Anne Arundel. Thank you.
Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Delegate Feldmark.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the concerns that Delegate Buckle is raising. The reality is, if we're giving a subsidy for a job, it should be a job that someone can live with economic stability in that community. And even in tier 1 areas of the state, the current minimum requirements are not sufficient for that. So I do think this is an important move. And I understand the Mr. Chair, your point about sort of wanting to look at this more comprehensively and cohesively. But here we are extending a program that, DLS has told us really should consider terminating. And I think many of us, have some concerns, but if we're going to extend it, we should make it better in the process, is my perspective. So I'll leave it there. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and call a vote on this amendment. I'll do it as a roll call. So when I call your name, please say yes or no. I'll start. I vote no on the amendment. Delegate Feldmark,
Yes.
Delegate Buckle,
No.
Delegate Palakovich-Carr,
Yes.
Delegate Charles,
Yes.
Delegate Barnes.
Pass.
Say pass or yes?
Yes.
So that amendment passes. Delegate Feldmark, that was your only amendment, right?
Correct. Yes. Thank you.
So Delegate Palakovich-Carr, you had further amendments?
Yes, I had two further amendments. I'm only going to offer one though, Mr. Chair. It's amendment 413229. It has to do with the minimum number of jobs that an employer needs to create to be eligible for the more jobs for mail-unders income tax portion of the credit. Right now, for employers in a tier 1 area, they only need to create 5 jobs. If you're in a tier 2 community, it's 10 jobs. That's fairly low. So what this amendment does is it just doubles both those numbers. So tier 1, it's a minimum of 10 jobs created. In tier 2 areas, it's a minimum of 20 jobs created. And I make the amendment.
I'll second it. So the amendment's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this amendment? All right. All those in favor, please signify by saying yes or aye.
Yes.
Or da or C, anything. That amendment passes. Are there, Delegate Butler, sorry. George.
Apologies. Just want to clarify that is to apply to new enrollees in the program.
Yes, my apologies. I said it before and forgot to say it for this one, only prospective.
And it also is that new enrollees across the board or new enrollees in tier 2.
Across the board, because the amendment addresses both minimum number of jobs for both.
Perfect. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
Forgot where the provision of statute modified. Apologies.
All right. Are there any further amendments on this? Okay. I move the bill as amended.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on the bill as amended? All right. All those in favor of the bill as amended, please signify by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed to the bill as amended?
No.
Okay. The bill is recommended favorably to the full committee, and I assume we'll be having full committee voting on it at some point tomorrow. I assume we will also likely, I'm sure, have subcommittee tomorrow or Saturday. I don't know time yet. I don't know agenda yet, but as soon as I have that information, I will share it with all of you. Thank you all for your hard work.